Enough about my lack of skills with book face. So here we are. We're going to get started. It's the top of the hour. I want to respect everybody's time. Welcome you on to the presentation tonight. Again, this is Dave Dubeau, and it's my pleasure to introduce our host with the most, Mr. Ken Beaton, with this brand new presentation on 5 Homes to Freedom version 2.0. I shouldn't say brand new, but it is modified, updated, and what's really exciting, if you've watched this presentation before, what's really exciting is Ken has a new strategy that allows us to accomplish the goal faster, plus it's a way to start putting cash in your pocket immediately instead of having to wait 5 years or 7 years or 8 years. This is a way to actually start creating some cash, chunks of cash for yourself right off the get-go. So that's going to be very, very exciting. And Ken, I believe you've got the controls, so I'm going to let you take it away there, buddy.
All right. Well, I mean, you've done that, so let's
All right.
keep going for you
Great.
there.
I do want to let everybody know at the end of the presentation, there's going to be a little, for the live people watching this live, there's going to be a survey that pops up. Fill out the survey. Let us know what you thought about the presentation. Fill that out and then click send, and I'll send you a copy of tonight's slideshow in a PDF handout format for sticking around to the end. So that's going to show up at the end of the presentation tonight. Stick around for that. Next slide there, please, buddy. So like good old Woody Allen says, 80% of success is just showing up. So give yourself a little pat on the back, seeing that Ken and I can't actually do that. We're going to send you out a virtual pat on the back for being here tonight. And what are we going to cover? Lots of good stuff. So why real estate is still the #1 solution for the average Canadian in order to create true financial security and perhaps even wealth. Why real estate makes sense as a real estate as an investment option. And again, Ken's very, very clever strategy, 5 Homes to Freedom, allowing you to create more with less and retire wealthy sooner rather than later. That's what it's all about. Ken's then going to go over his 5-step blueprint. So this is something different from what we've done in the past. In the past, there were more steps. What Ken has done is he has simplified things, condensed a few of the steps into one. So now it's instead of being 7 steps, it's a simpler 5-step blueprint. And then again, we're going to be covering this brand new strategy on how to create $7,500 a month tax-free. Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, but we're going to be talking also a little bit about how to create chunks of cash up front as you're doing your deals, correct?
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly it, Dave.
Perfect.
All right. So I guess I'll jump in here now, and I'll just give those who do not know me very well just a very brief, quick overview of who I am and how I've got to where I am today. That's a picture of myself with my wife Joanne in the top corner there. Dave and I have co-authored the Creative Real Estate Investing for Canadians, and Joanne and I did the same co-authoring for how to buy and manage investment properties.
Which is an excellent book, I must say. I'm talking about your second book. Both of them are excellent books, but Joanne and you and yourself, you guys did a very, very good job on that. How to buy and manage investment properties. That's an awesome resource.
All right. Well, that's a picture of my family there, where we were all vacationing at my eldest daughter's wedding in Cuba, and then a picture of myself mentoring or teaching a class. So that's a little bit there. One of my passions is actually doing transactions. This is a collage of properties and deals that I've done in the past. But a bigger passion is actually mentoring and teaching people how to do the same thing and achieve their goals as well. And this all started back in the late 90s, actually, when I came to the realization I wasn't getting any younger. I was in my early 40s, and at this point in time in our life, we were owning and operating a campground, a very small campground, and we weren't making very much money at all, slowly going into debt. We had $10,000 in savings at this point in time, so we realized we needed some financial advice. So we reached out to a company called Freedom 55 rather, and we just put the question out there, how much money we were going to need in our savings in order to retire sometime around 55 or 60 years of age with a very, very modest $3,500 per month income, because that's what we were accustomed to living on. Well, the reality was it just hit us like a brick. I mean, we were told we were going to need $1 million, and he might as well said $10 million because that was so far beyond our context. We had no idea how we were ever going to achieve this, but we persevered and we just started putting money away at a little bit that we could. Things really turned around for me when I read in 2001. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it was this huge light bulb went off for me, and I realized that real estate was the venue for me, and that's how I was going to create my wealth. So I started to invest in real estate, and I bought our very first property, which was a condo in a complex in Edmonton. And we purchased that, held it for a few years, sold it for a nice little profit. Shortly after buying that, I enrolled in some education courses, and this is where I learned how much I didn't know, which was quite a bit at the time. And we invested over a period of about a year and a half, we invested over $80,000 in our education. And sounds like a lot of money, and it actually was a lot of money, but still to this day, it was one of the best investments I ever made, was investing in myself for this education, because we were able to get going really, really quickly. And from what I was able to learn, I was able to bring my focus, into clarity, and we started to create a big portfolio, buying lots and lots of doors because that's what we were told we needed to do. And we were just focusing on big volume business. And the challenge is that with a big volume business, there was a very small cash flow. Therefore, we needed to have many, many units in order to achieve our goal. I actually got pretty good at doing this, and I got the attention of a lot of the other teachers at Agrant, and they asked me to come on board with them, teach a couple courses here and there, but more importantly, become one of their mentors. So that's how I was introduced to the mentoring aspect, and that's where I fell in love with teaching and mentoring other people. And over the years, I've mentored hundreds of students now. And all this has resulted in us owning 171 units. We've owned more, we've owned less. It's fluid, but that's a snapshot of what we own there currently. And the beautiful thing about real estate is it has allowed Joanne and I the opportunity to retire very comfortably if we want to. And that's a very important thing. It's if we want to. We're having so much fun doing what we're doing. We have no plans of retiring. But the big thing is our financial worries are gone. And you know what they say, happy wife, happy life. And I've got a very happy wife right now. So that's a great thing. And that's more than enough about me right now. So let's jump into the rest of the event. And basically what's in it for me now. So our purpose here is to inspire you to be as financially free as you want to be. And it can be as little or as much as you want. That's your call. So we'll do a little bit of a reality check here before we move forward. And this is a question that I ask a lot at live events. I ask all the students, do you want to retire rich or poor? And I get a lot of puzzled looks because most people want to retire rich. But the reality is people are going to retire poor because they're going to maintain their lifestyle doing the same thing they've always done before, yet they expect different results. And as Albert Einstein's quote here says, that's the definition of insanity. But that's the reality. If you want different results in life, you have to take different actions, and that starts right here tonight. And the reality is that for those people who are not willing to make changes in their life, 49% of the middle class are going to retire poor, living on less than $5 a day. So that's a stat from the New York Times. That's not something I just made up. Some more interesting stats. This is a poll that the Bank of Montreal did. And 34% of the respondents said their retirement plan was to win the lottery. And it's actually much higher than that down in the U.S. market.
You mean that's not realistic? Dang,
well,
now you tell me.
Now we're getting into something that's a little bit more realistic here. 40% are counting on inheritance, unless it's your kids, Dave.
Well, that's why I'm being extra nice to you, buddy.
Yeah. Sad reality, though. And then 28% are expecting financial assistance from their own children as they age. So these are real stats. This is what's happening for people out there. So what are our options here? Well, unfortunately, for many people, it's simply not to retire. not because of a choice, but they have to continue working. And I was just telling you earlier, Dave, that I walked into Walmart yesterday, and there was a lady who had to be in her late 70s who was stocking shelves.
Wow.
And it's a very common occurrence. You see these people working in the low-paying jobs because they have to, not because they want to. So that's one option. The other option is to invest in real estate. And a lot of people say, well, why real estate? Well, quite simply, with real estate, with real estate, you're going to jump in here, Dave, I think, and
Yep.
go for a few slides, right? Yeah.
Sounds good. So why real estate? And you get to be my host with the most there, buddy.
Well, I get to have oh yeah, I got to still flip it, right?
You get to click things along. So why real estate? So fact is, bottom line, this is where the majority of Canada's wealthiest families hold all, if not, or at least substantially all of their wealth is in real estate. So if it's good enough for the rich guys and gals, it's definitely good enough for us. Next slide, please. So some of the big benefits of real estate investing, one of them is it's a much more stable investment compared to being in the stock market, compared to mutual funds and bonds and that sort of thing. It's much easier to get started as well. This is a simpler investment strategy than a lot of the other ones. One of the things that Ken and I love the most about real estate is that the banks love real estate. So that means we can use leverage. We can use other people's money, especially the bank's money, to buy our properties, and so can you. Next. Control. So this is one of the things that Ken does so well with his properties is he finds properties that he can increase the value of. So that's called forced appreciation. You've got much more control over it. Then, here's the beautiful thing. Other people are paying for our investments. Those people are our tenants. So every month that they're paying rent, they're paying our mortgages for us. They're paying for our investments. This is a huge one. So this one I didn't quite clue into until it was explained to me in plain English, and then it just makes so much sense. It's so obvious. But as opposed to, let's say, your RRSP, your retirement savings plan, which deplenishes the older you get. So let's say you save up $300,000 in your RSP. Well, you're going to have to start taking that out upon retirement and paying tax on it, even though theoretically it's at a lower level. But let's say you live for another 30 years, which is very possible nowadays. At the end of that, or before you reach the end of your life, you're going to run out of cash. On the other hand, with real estate, it's going to continue to increase in value. Your cash flow is going to continue to increase. Your mortgage is going to get paid down, so your equity is going to increase. This is an investment that keeps going up over time. It keeps growing even when you're retired. That's huge. Next, Ken.
Yep. And actually, this is a big one for Joanne and I, and it's all about the lifestyle benefits of real estate. And we never thought back in '99 that we would be living the life that we live right now. That's a picture of our brand new home that we're currently living in. Being able to take the family vacations. We've done numerous family vacations where we pay for everybody. And traveling the world and being able to see some of these wonderful sites has just been phenomenal. So lifestyle benefits is a big one.
You don't have a picture of Kamloops in there, buddy. You've been out here several times. I don't see a
And
picture of
I
Kamloops.
got the T-shirt though. I've got the T-shirt. All right, so let's talk a little bit how you can make money in real estate, and we're going to take a look at the profit centers, and we're just going to go through them very, very quickly. The first profit center is cash flow. Robert Kiyosaki talks about cash flow king. It's always first and foremost, and cash flow very simply is the money that's left over after you collect all of the revenue and you pay out all of the expenses. It should be cash flow positive. Then we've got appreciation. Dave touched on this a little bit. Over time, property values go up. It can go up by forced appreciation or just general market appreciation. If you take care of your property, it will continue to increase in value. It does have a little bit of ups and downs, but generally speaking, it will increase in value. Then we have the principal pay down, and that's related to your mortgage. So when you take out a mortgage, it's broken into two portions, the principal reduction and the interest. So every month you make a payment, some of it goes to interest, some of it goes to reducing the debt, and over the, in this case, 25 years, the debt is paid off, and that payment is now 100% yours. So you can see the equity growing over the 25 years.
Hey, buddy, just take a break just for a second here. Can you try plugging in your headset to your computer, just
I
so we
can.
can, because the sound's not all that great.
Just give
And
me
you guys, if you're
one
seeing a
quick
blank
second
screen,
here.
that's okay because we're in the middle of a slide, so it'll come back in a second. We've had a few people saying they can't hear you very well, so
Okay, almost there.
I could sing a song if you like or whistle or something, but I don't think
Good.
anybody
Next moment. All right, can you hear
can.
me better now?
Keep talking.
Oh, what am I going to talk about now? How about depreciation?
Perfect.
That's okay?
Well, keep
All
talking.
right.
I'll let you know. It sounds a bit better
Okay.
right now.
All right. So the next one is depreciation. So over time, the government figures that your property is going to depreciate in value just because of the general condition. Therefore, they will allow you to depreciate a portion of the value of that property to help decrease your taxes. I'm using new hardware now, apparently. Okay. Leverage. Again, Dave talked on this briefly. This is the beautiful thing about real estate. Banks love real estate because they feel it's a very secure investment for them to lend against. For the properties that we're looking at in this program, we have to put 20% down, but that means the banks are willing to lend us 80% of the value. So that's a pretty good ratio, 1 to 5. Then you've got instant equity. When you buy a property, for the properties listed at $300,000 and you're able to negotiate a really good deal and buy it for $250,000, that doesn't mean the property is only worth $250,000. It could realistically still be worth $300,000, and if so, then you've just gained $50,000 equity because you were able to negotiate such a good deal. Then reinvestment is sort of the hidden or the forgotten profit center. So as your properties increase in value, the mortgages are paid down, you've got your equity growth that you can pull out and reinvest in other properties. And now you're actually using other people's money, like the bank, in order to reinvest into more properties to build your portfolio. So what we're going to do now is we're going to focus on creating the $7,500 per month passive income. Why $7,500? Well, over the course of our presentations, it seems the average number that people are happy with is $7,500.
Well,
It can be more, it can be less.
well, let's just we aren't doing polls tonight, you guys. We're just doing the open question stuff for the folks that are on the live webinar. So go ahead, just for curiosity, type in the question box if you'd be okay with $7,500 a month in passive real estate income. Would that be enough? And we're talking in today's dollars. Would that be enough to pretty much do it for you? Would you be able to quit your job if you're making $7,500 a month passive real estate income, month in, month out, net? All right. So we got 5K. That's a nice number for me. Yes, I'd be happy with that. Yes. Before or after taxes? Well, that'd be before taxes. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, somebody says need more. I'm shooting for 10. Lots of yeses, sure's. Yes, we would be, but I want more. Well, that's good, but it's a good start. Somebody says no, need 10. Okay, perfect. Bye-bye job. All right. Excellent. Thanks for you guys. Thank you very much for the participation. That just makes it much more interesting for everybody, especially Ken and I.
Well, you anyways, Dave.
So yeah, we got lots of people saying yes. The vast majority say yes. That would do the trick. Some people want some more. So as you're watching the presentation, we're going to focus on 7,500. If you're shooting for 10, then that just means you need to kind of expand this a little bit more. If you need less, that's cool too.
Yep.
So this is just because this is where the vast majority of people are. This would definitely solve their financial challenges.
Yeah, plus, quite simply, we had to pick a number. So there we go. That's the number we picked.
Don't tell everybody our secrets, buddy. There you go.
All right, so what's the next step? What do we actually do? So let's just take a quick look at the traditional way that most people have been learning, or how we've been taught, through, companies like the Tigrant Learning, the Rich Dad. We've got the Get Real Academy Live with Raymond Aaron. These are all great sources of education. I can't say enough good things about the education. The challenge is that the model that they use is that you have to buy lots of properties. And when you buy lots of properties, you're going to incur major amounts of debt and expect very little cash flow from each individual unit. So what does that look like? Well, they're telling us that we should expect anywhere from $50 to $75 profit per door. That's after all expenses have been paid and debt service related to that particular investment.
So that's our net cash flow, right? That's what we're talking about.
That's our net cash flow, exactly.
Okay.
So if we're only going to get $75 per door, how many units are we going to need in order to achieve our goal for retirement? So let's take a look at doing some very quick math here. If our goal is $7,500 and our net profit is only $75 per month, we divide that 75 into the 7,500 and it comes out with 100 units. So 100 units, it doesn't sound like, too bad a deal until you start to look at the numbers and see the scale of what 100 units actually looks like and the cost of 100 units. You're looking at, depends where you're investing, obviously. If you're in Vancouver, this is one building, but everywhere else, it's $8 million to $10 million is what it's going to cost in order to acquire 100 units. So that's one perspective. This is another perspective that I like to look at, actually, or to show. It's actually 100 toilets to deal with.
Yeah, I don't think you really like to look at that. You've seen.
I don't like, it's a perspective to be aware of, though. And here's another perspective, just to keep things in perspective, is you've got a lot more tenants to deal with.
Yeah, that's what your lovely wife Joanne gets to deal with, right?
That's why you hire that out to other people, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people say that, yeah, I would love to own 100 plus units, but, and that's when they drop the big bombshell, the big but, right? I could never afford that. Here comes all the excuses. I don't know how to buy it. The mortgage is too big. And they're all legitimate excuses for them because they've never done it before. And what it means is that their context is too small for the amount of content I'm trying to put in there, showing them how to buy these properties.
So that's because in the past we've really focused on the apartment building wealth generation program and showing people how to buy multifamily properties, and then we see that some do, but a lot don't because it's just beyond people's comprehension. It's beyond.
Yeah.
It's way too far out of their comfort zone to get started with that right away.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of having to change your habits and your, you have to do the uncomfortable things. You have to change these things in order to get different results. And for many people, the vast majority of people, they're not willing to do that. And here's the unfortunate reality is that, less than 2% of the real estate investors out there have more than 100 units. That's $75 per door. So that's not very many people. And what they're more likely to achieve is only 1 to 4 doors. Again, at that $75 per door, that's not a lot of money. So it's a great start, and it's good for them to get going, but that's not going to be enough for them to achieve their goals, to achieve that financial freedom. So there is a better way, and that's going to be option number 2, and I like to say where you actually do less and achieve more. So again, in the traditional model, you buy lots of properties, you incur major amounts of debt, and you get very little cash flow from each individual unit. So with the new 5 homes model, we're going to change this up a little bit. We're going to buy a few properties, and we're going to focus on eliminating the debt and creating maximum cash flow from each individual unit. So we're changing things around completely. So again, we're achieving more with less, and our focus is going to be on single-family homes that are suited. Therefore, you've got 2 units in a house. Then we're going to focus on paying the debt down as quickly as possible. Getting the debt paid off completely is our goal. And when you do that, when the debt is paid off, then your cash flow is going to skyrocket for each individual property. So once you do this, the question is how many doors do you really need? So we need to take a look at some cash flow to understand, to get a good sense of this. So let's take a look at a $350,000 house where our rental income for the upstairs.
So sorry, buddy. Let's just, again, depending on where you're at in the country,
yeah,
the value of the property may be more, it may be far less. We took $350,000 because that's kind of the average across Canada, excluding places like Vancouver and Toronto. But that's the average for a single family home that you can get into and have a suite in.
Correct. Yeah, and it's all relative because I mean, if it's a more expensive house, the rents are going to be more expensive as well. So it's just for an example purpose here. So we're going to have rental income upstairs of $1,400. The downstairs suite will be $1,000. And as the owner of the property, you are responsible for the property taxes and the insurance on the property. Put a little bit of money aside for some maintenance and repairs for the property as well. And then you've got your big debt, which is your mortgage, and that's at 80% loan to value. So that's $280,000 is 80% of the purchase price. So you're paying $1,400 a month there, and that leaves you with cash flow of $200 per month, which is not a whole lot more than the $75 per month. However, again, our focus is to eliminate that mortgage. So when we look at the same property, but we take away that mortgage, so we get the same expenses for the rent or the taxes, insurance, maintenance, etc., but we now have zero mortgage, all of a sudden our cash flow is $1,600 per month.
Nice.
So based on that, how many units do we actually need to retire now? So again, our goal here is $7,500 per month, $1,600 income per month per house. Cash flow, rather, sorry. Therefore, we're going to need 4.69 homes, which fits in nicely with 5 homes to freedom. Just a coincidence.
Rounding
up. And
up.
again, as Dave said earlier.
Ken wanted to call it 4.69 homes to freedom. I suggested that we round it up.
Round it up a bit, yeah. Well, we're getting rid of the nickel now, too. So, anyways. So, you know, to somebody's point, if you don't need $7,500 and you only need, you know, maybe 4 homes will work for you. And if you need more money, maybe you need to focus on getting 7 homes. Whatever it is for you, that's what your focus will be.
Exactly. So for example, buddy, sorry to jump in, but just last evening I was at a real estate get-together here in Kamloops, and I met a lady, and she and her husband bought a fourplex 10 years ago. They've got, or he's got a good job with, quote unquote, good job with a pension, etc. So they were looking for something to supplement his pension when he retires. So they're doing this strategy. They're not taking cash flow. They're putting everything back into paying down the mortgage on that property. It's going to be free and clear within 10 years, and they'll be seeing exactly that from this fourplex that they've got. So there are definitely people doing this strategy in different kinds of ways. They don't need the full $7,500 a month income. So it's all depends on what your situation is.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's quickly look at some of the benefits of the program. If you go with 5 homes versus having 100 tenants, 10 tenants versus 100 tenants, that's certainly a lot fewer headaches to deal with. That's for sure. I can, or Joanne can attest to that, I guess. There's also a lot less money required in order to purchase the properties. When you're looking at a 100-unit apartment, you're looking at $10 million, and that's going to be $2.5 million cash that you're going to need to come up with in order to purchase that, because you're going to have to come up with 25% down. Well, in order to get the same net cash flow with 5 houses, you only at $350,000 each, you only need $350,000 cash in order to buy that portfolio, because you are looking at 20% down as well. So a lot less cash to achieve the same cash flow of $7,500 per month.
That's huge. I mean,
it is
just almost 10%. Well, it's a bit more than 10%, but it's way, way, way less.
And this is another big one as well. There's a greater availability versus the apartment buildings. So in Canada, there's millions and millions of houses out there that people are living in that we could be looking at buying for our program. Yet if you're looking at the apartment buildings, there's far fewer of those available in the marketplace out there. So you're chasing a much smaller pool of properties if you're looking at the apartment buildings, and there's a lot of competition that you're up against. Whereas if you're looking at the single family homes, you've got a lot more product to look at, far less competition. This will also get you there much faster. You're going to be able to reach your financial goals, whatever they are, and become financially free much more quickly with this model as well. And this is one that's really big for me because it really bothers me to see people fail to achieve their goals. And when people are going after the big 100 units, and you see that high failure rate, that really bothers me. With this particular program, it's much more realistic for people, and it's within their context, so it vastly increases the success rate as well. So a very quick recap here. Traditionally, you're going to need 75 to 100 units to be financially free, but we can do the same with less, and we're looking at 5 suited homes to get the same result, the same end result. Far less down payments, hassles and stress, not having to deal with as many tenants as well. And big one, you're far more likely to succeed with this program. So let's take a look at $7,500 a month within 8 years, what that plan is actually going to look like. But before we do that, I'm going to have my lawyer jump in here and give a little bit of a legal disclaimer.
Your lawyer, that's scary. All right. So again, what we're going to be going over here is an example. It's for an illustration. That's all it's for. Keep going there, buddy. We cannot make any income promises. Your situation, your goals are going to be different, and you may be able to do this faster or slower. That's just the bottom line. Now, here's the other thing. Results are going to vary depending on your ability, your circumstances, and how much action you take. I mean, this is all common sense stuff, but we need to just put it right out there front and center. Unfortunately, the average person doesn't get any results because the average person doesn't do anything. They don't take any action. They stay in the comfort zone. They stay zoned out watching TV or playing Angry Birds or watching Netflix. They don't take any action. You, I'm sure, are not average. That's why you're on this webinar. That's why you've taken the action to actually attend the webinar live. And then, of course, this is an investment strategy. There is inherent risk in this and any other investment strategy. All right? That's it. That's our legal disclaimer.
All right, so now we're back to our regular scheduled programming.
Nice.
All right.
So why do you make me say the nasty stuff? What's up with that? Huh?
Well, I took out all the stuff that you didn't. Anyways, we won't go there. All right, so let's get back here. We're going to take a look at how we can generate this $7,500 per month within 8 years. That's just one of the plans that we're going to put together here for you. So step 1 is actually we're going to suggest you buy 2 houses per year for the next 4 years. So at the end of 4 years, you will own 8 houses, and these are all going to be suited single-family homes. Step 2 is pay down the debt as quickly as possible. So what you're going to do is any cash flow that property generates, you're going to turn back into the property to pay down the debt as quickly as possible. Step 3, after the 8-year time period, you're going to sell 3 of these properties. Now, the properties, the revenue that you're going to get from these properties is going to be applied towards the other 5 properties, the debt that's owing against them. It may not pay off all of the debt, but it will certainly pay off more than enough debt to create the $7,500 per month passive income in the 8 years. Step 5 is simply sit back and enjoy the money that's coming in now, and that's your $7,500 per month plan for doing 5 homes in 8 years. Now, for a lot of people, they're thinking, okay, well, that sounds really good, really simple, but what if? So we're going to have all the what ifs now, and probably the biggest what if that we hear, Dave, is going to be the real estate market crash. We're in a bubble. Well, yep. We're in a bubble, we're not in a bubble. Who knows? I don't have a crystal ball, but let's take a look at a scenario if we are in a bubble and the market crashes. So in the early 1980s, the Alberta market actually did crash, and they went down 28%. Now, does that mean, just a sidebar here, does that mean the market across Canada went down 28%, Dave?
No, it doesn't. It sure as heck did where I lived, but it didn't go down across the entire country.
Well, here in the Ottawa market, we didn't even know it crashed, because here it's such a stable market. You might go down 5%, But then again, we only go up 5%. I mean, we have very low fluctuations in our real estate market here. So you have to be aware of that as well. So we're looking at this worst case scenario though. In Alberta, it crashed by 28%. In the 2000s, it went down by an 11% margin. So I think to be to safe, how about if we use a 20% drop in value? I think
So
that's pretty
let's
safe.
ask everybody about that. So what we want to do right now is we want to show an example, a worst case scenario. What if the market crashes? Do you think a 20% drop is a fair example? So go ahead, type in the question box if you think that that's a fair example. So Sophie says yes. Blaine says sounds fair. Yep. Shannon says fair. Yep. Good amount. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, good. All right. So this is a fair example. All right. We're not going to show you if the market goes down by 50% because chances, I mean, 1980s Alberta market, that was about as bad as it's gotten since the Great Depression of the 1929. So
Yeah. And if the market ever drops 50%, I think we've got bigger problems. So.
Yeah, potentially.
All right. So the real estate cycle itself, that's a key word, is cycle. You have to realize and understand that the markets do go up and down, similar to the stock markets, but the cycle for real estate is usually over a 5 to 7 year period. So when you do have that downturn in the market, you know it's going to come back up. It's just a matter of time. And historically, that's been in the 5 to 7 year range. So option number one to take a look at is just simply do nothing and ride out this cycle. Let the values go down, but your tenants are still paying their rent, they're still paying down the mortgage, and things are still going along fine. The worst case scenario that's going to happen if you do this is that your end date may get pushed out. So instead of having your $7,500 per month income in 8 years, maybe it'll take 9 years or 10 years. Is that the end of the world? No. It's an option though. Option number two is to take advantage of this, and because what I see and what many other investors see when you see a market crash like this is that it's on sale, and you go out and you buy more properties. Take advantage of it. So let's take a quick look at an example. If a house that's worth $350,000 today drops by 20% in value, it's now worth $280,000. The future value after 5-year recovery is going to be back to where the original price was, approximately $350,000. In the meantime, you've been paying your mortgage on that property. And your mortgage was based on a $280,000 purchase price. You've paid the mortgage for 5 years. The balance owing is $164,000. So you sell that property and you net a profit of $186,000. And yes, there's taxes, there's fees and stuff like that. Again, this is high level. This is just to keep things simple. You take that profit and you can then apply that towards some of your other deals, and that can keep you on track and potentially even accelerate it so that you can reach your goal faster than the 8 years.
Can you do me a favor, buddy, and go back one slide, because I really want, this is huge. In my opinion, this is huge because it's a mindset thing. So here's the thing about real estate investing in general. In general, when the Joe public starts buying real estate, when you see doctors and dentists starting to get into real estate investing, that's when the market is at the peak. when everybody's jumping in is when you should probably be cooling your heels. And when everybody's jumping out is when you should be buying, right? That's the whole concept. That's, like Ken said, it's on sale. Now, historically speaking, unless you're in a one-horse town that just has one industry and that industry has pulled out and moved away, if you're in a normal community across Canada, chances are the values are going to go back up. I mean, you've seen, just look back, you've seen the cycle. If you've been in one place for any time, you've seen the cycle. You've seen things go up, you've seen things go down. And chances are, if you've got a few gray hairs on your head, you might look back 20 years ago and go, crap, I really wish I had bought more properties back then, even though there have been 2 or 3 cycles in that time. So when everybody's selling off, this is a perfect time to jump in, buy things on sale, get them rented out, because here's the other thing. typically rents don't drop that much. The value of the property might drop quite a bit. Rents might go down a bit, but typically they don't bottom out. They stay fairly competitive. You keep cash flowing, you keep paying down that mortgage, and then when the market comes around again, it goes back up to the original price. That's when you turn around, you cash out, and then you apply that chunk of cash towards paying down the mortgages on the rest of your properties. And like Ken said, go ahead to the next slide there, Ken.
Yeah, well, actually, just further to that, you just mentioned something. You said typically the rents don't go down during a time period like that. Don't be surprised when the rents actually go up during that cycle as well, because all these people who are losing their homes, they're still need a place to live. And actually, during a downturn in the markets, my portfolio increased in value because the vacancies dropped. So that's something to be aware of as well.
Well, okay, but you're talking multifamilies there, so it's a little bit different with
well, no, it's still rentals. Even the single families I have as well, same thing. So yeah, so here you take advantage of this being on sale and you buy more properties and just apply these profits towards your initial properties that you purchased to reduce the debt owing, and you can either stay on track or accelerate the program as well. Anything else there, Dave? Or?
No, that's good. I just wanted to make sure that everybody got that because it's so huge. It's a whole mindset thing. Whenever you see everybody else doing something, chances are you probably don't want to be doing that.
Yep. All right. So this is another one. Well, what if I can't afford to buy 2 houses a year? And this is probably, this is very legit. Many people are going to fall into this category. Where you can't buy 2 houses every year on your own. But if you can buy one, then you can definitely buy 2, 3, 4, and maybe even all 8 in 1 year. It's a matter of leveraging other people and other people's money as well. And this is a huge one, being able to recycle your first down payment. When I was doing a lot of rent-to-owns a number of years ago, I would buy the first property with my own money, and then I would recycle that down payment by replacing it with somebody else's RSP money, take my money back out of it, and go buy another one. So there was nothing stopping me from buying as many properties as I wanted because I just kept recycling that first down payment over and over again. And you can do the exact same thing in this program as well. I don't have the money, or I don't have credit. I'm just, what can I do right now? Again, we will walk you through the process of using other people's money, using joint ventures, how to attract the joint ventures, and how to structure the deals properly so that you make it a win-win for everybody. But this is the one that we've been hearing, since I started the program. I don't want to wait 8 years to make money. I want to make money now. I want the instant gratification. And I just got tired of Dave saying this over and over and over again. So
that bus is kind of heavy, buddy. Every time that bus runs over me, it just keeps getting heavier.
I spent many, many hours working feverishly trying to come up with a solution, and I believe I've got a really awesome strategy, and where we can generate $7,500 per month tax-free in only 5 years. And I've run this past accountants, mortgage brokers, and I put it to the test, and they all think it's fantastic. So it also puts money in your pocket on day one as well. So it achieves your goal, same goal, much faster, and it's tax-free. It's money as well.
Plus you're making chunks of change along the way, right?
Yep, exactly. You don't have to wait the 5 years or the 8 years. You start making change in day one. The first deal you put together, you're starting to make money right away. So with this new strategy, the focus is still on reducing debt. And we're going to introduce a refinancing strategy as well, and it has to be very strategic as to how we do this. And if you don't have to do it with joint venture partners, but you can do it with joint venture partners. If you don't have any money and you've got bad credit, definitely using joint venture partners is a great way to go. And this strategy will provide very attractive return on investment for your investors. Plus, you're being paid for your service from day one.
Yeah, that's
I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, so this is the new strategy that we're going to be delving into in depth in the new 2.0 version of the 5 Homes to Freedom program.
Exactly. All right, so the 5 homes to freedom it's a very simple concept, um, but it's not so easy to do without a plan. And this is where most people fail, is because, well, it looks simple, I can do that, but they still fail because they don't have a plan moving forward. So this is where what we do is we provide that blueprint for you to follow, and it's a 5-step action plan. Step number 1 is to create the target, so you know what you're even aiming at, what you should be buying, where you should be buying it, how to be buying those properties as well. So, you know, the neighborhoods, so that you do experience the appreciation, and it's not your one-horse town. Then we focus on creating the personal plan, and this is something I learned a long time ago, is that it's fine to be given the tools how to buy real estate, but if I don't have my own personal plan and get my personal act together, then I'm still going to fail. So we're going to set some clear goals, determine what your why is, create a power team for you, people to help you achieve your goals, and you'll walk away with your own personal map, which is a massive action plan. Step number 2 is all about the financing. Understanding the financing, where it's coming from, how you get it, the different types of mortgages that are out there, how does your credit apply, how does the credit of your joint venture partners affect the deal, where do the down payments come from, and how much do you need, and everything about financing.
So just one second there, Kim, because we had somebody send us in an email ahead of the webinar concerned about some of the new changes to financing and how that affects how many mortgages investors can qualify for. And it is getting more difficult. However, again, it's kind of serendipitous how this happened. This meeting I went to last night, I was chatting with an investor friend of mine who came up with that against that exact same challenge, growing her portfolio. They've got 20 some doors, primarily single family properties, that they have qualified for personally. And now they've hit that wall, and the banks don't want to. The banks that were dealing with them before don't want to do it, and they tried to find financing. It was getting really expensive. She came up with a solution to that, very, very simple, very competitive rates, and she now qualifies for another $4.5 million of financing by doing it this way. So we'll be talking about that during the program as well.
Yeah, nice, exactly. Yeah, so there's always a solution. You just have to be creative and be willing to do things differently. Have an open mind. Step 2, continue. We take a look at joint venture partners and money partners, whether they're silent partners or active partners, and how to stay out of jail. You know, it sounds silly, but I mean, honestly, you have to be careful how you approach people, how you sell the deal or the opportunity to people. So you want to make sure you stay on the right side of the law with the Securities Commission. Create a plan for finding and attracting investors to you rather than having to go asking and begging for money. And then, very importantly, how to structure a joint venture agreement properly so that it's a win-win deal. And we share the joint venture agreements that we use, and we've had great feedback from lawyers who've used them with other students in the past. Then we look at crunching the numbers. Is it a good deal or a bad deal? For many new investors, they don't know how to look at a deal properly from the numbers perspective. So we walk through the process of showing you how to decide whether it's a good deal or a bad deal, when you're focusing on paying down the mortgage, which mortgage should you pay down first, how much should you pay it down, should you spread the payments over a bunch of them, all the different scenarios. We look at all that, and we've actually created a tool for analyzing and crunching these numbers with respect to the mortgages, because it is a very complicated process. It can be a very complicated process, but this analyzer has made it very simple. Step number 3 then is how do we accelerate the mortgage paydown so we can get rid of that debt more quickly. So we look at the different ways of doing this, whether it's just simply the timing of payments, generating extra cash from the property itself or personal sources. creating big chunks of cash. We take a look at other real estate deals that are out there, ways of generating cash, whether it be through wholesaling, assignments, flips, rent to owns. This is not a course to teach you how to do any of those. It just talks about the opportunities that are available out there and opens your mind to those opportunities. Step number 4, show me the money. So this is where you start to realize some money up front when you start to put these deals together. There's different ways of doing it, whether you're splitting the mortgage pay downs, secondary deals on the side, charging deal fees, etc. And then step 5 is your tax-free money, and this is how we're going to create the $7,500 per month tax-free. We'll look at using your own money to create that $7,500, and we can do that within 5 years. If you don't have any money to do this at all, then it may take you a couple more years, 7 years, using other people's money. So that's the 5-step plan to do this, and it's really important to have this plan to keep focused, because if you don't keep focused and you allow all these little things to distract you, then you'll get off course pretty quick and easy, right, Dave?
It's a nice car. Very nice
Yeah,
car.
Very nice car, or it was. So just think about this. If you aren't living your own personal plan, then you are likely living in somebody else's plan, helping them fulfill their goals. All right, Dave, I'm going to hand it over to you here at this point, right?
All right, buddy. Let me make sure that I've got all systems go here.
Actually, you can just take controls.
I'm going to request the controls and the mouse. Let's see if we got...
Yeah, I want to think about it. I'll give it to you. Go ahead.
Thanks, buddy. All right. So if you've got any questions about what we've gone over a lot of stuff very, very quickly, go ahead and type in your questions in the question box. We'll get your questions answered. We're going to stick around at the end of the call as long as you want to get as many of your questions answered as we possibly can. That's what it's all about. We're going to be talking a little bit about the brand new 5 Homes to Freedom 2.0 program. Just a reminder for everybody that came on board a little bit later, stick around to the end and I'll give you a link to a survey so that you can get a copy of the slides from tonight's presentation delivered to you. So it's a very simple concept. Doing it is definitely the trick. So there's a couple of ways to make this happen. You can either do it the hard way and the school of hard knocks, which you tend to remember those lessons. I know I do because they hurt so damn much. However, they can be very, very expensive and detrimental to your financial health. So that's the big challenge. It can take you a lot longer to achieve your success. It can be very, very expensive, and it's very stressful for you and your family. And you know what? Quite frankly, doing it by yourself is a lonely road to go down. Or what I consider to be a much better idea is to learn from a mentor. They're going to help you identify the really good deals. They're going to show you how to do profitable joint ventures, how to give your investors, how to make it a win-win situation for your investors so they're getting a solid return, and so that you're able to go out and buy more properties and accomplish your goals faster. So you're going to be working with directly with an expert, somebody who's been there, done there, accomplished what you're wanting to accomplish. That allows you to get up and going so much more quickly, and by working with somebody who's been there, you're going to virtually eliminate your risk and your fear. It's all about having a personalized plan for your specific situation. So what are the cons of working for a mentor? I can't think of any, to be perfectly frank with you. I've done it both ways. So here's my friend Sam Perrin. Just like to use Sam as an example of how well this can work. Sam's a young guy here in Kamloops, actually, and he's in his early 30s. He's got a beautiful young family. All of his kids are under 5 years old. He's got 3 kids. And Sam was a RCMP officer. You can see from his face, Sam's a happy kind of guy. Unfortunately, the whole RCMP thing was really dragging him down. It's a tough profession, and he just saw the other RCMP officers getting burnt out, stressed out, post-traumatic stress disorder, the whole bit, and he did not want that for himself. So after 8 years on the force, he wanted out. He started following this whole 5 homes process, this whole strategy, and just this last January, at age, I think he's 33 or 34, Sam retired from the force. He walked away. He walked away from that really good salary. He walked away from that quote unquote really good pension, those golden handcuffs, and he's now living his ideal lifestyle. He's a full-time stay-at-home dad with his little kids, thanks to this entire strategy. So it definitely works. So here are the challenges. People are worried about their retirement. They're worried about where the money's going to come from in retirement. They're worried about their money that's already in the stock market. What if they lose their job? What if the economy goes down? All of these worries are really dragging people down. Then there's actually doing it. There's a difference between learning something and then actually taking action with it. That's the big challenge, how to get going with it now. That's why we've got this solution. This is the solution, the 5 Homes to Freedom 2.0 mentorship program. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, but I'm going to tell you first of all why we're doing this. Because if you've been around for a while, you notice that probably noticed that last fall, which isn't that long ago, Ken and I did a big promo for this. We did a big surge for it. We got a lot of new students on board, and that was great. And part of the whole thing with that is we got some great feedback about the program. So Ken took that feedback and he wanted to make the program even better. And that's exactly what he's done. He's been working on it. He's been changing things up. He's simplified things. He's also gone in and just made it so much easier for you to understand the material because he's chunked it into bite-sized chunks. Instead of having big, long training sessions, it's now been divided up into multiple shorter videos. So you can go in, specifically learn each component, and then you can go back and review the specific things that you want to at your leisure later on. So this is from the feedback that we got from our students from the first round, and it's just making it consistently better and better. That's what it's all about. So here's what you're going to get from the whole program. Big picture, how to create life-changing cash flow, how to do it with just 3 to 5 single-family homes, be financially free much sooner rather than later, and actually get it done. That's what it's all about. So that's this 5 Homes to Freedom mentorship program. Here's a little bit about what's included. First of all, you're going to get started with a quick start mentoring session directly with Ken. So this isn't one of those things where Ken sloughs you off to some sort of a assistant coach or something like this. This is a one-on-one phone call or Skype conversation directly with Ken. He's going to go over your situation, your goal, and he's going to help you create your very own 5 Homes to Freedom plan, your massive action plan with you, get you up and running very, very quickly. Next thing is you're going to be doing this with Ken with his help. Then you've got access to monthly group coaching with Ken. Once a month, you can get on the phone, ask Ken anything to do with real estate. You can ask live, or you can send in your questions ahead of time, and you get these answered directly with Ken. You get 2 full years of access to this with this program. That's a $2,400 value. Next thing is we've got the actual training itself, the online training classes. Module number 1, all about that step 1, creating a clear target, the what, where, how of doing this strategy. You're also going to be getting your personal plan, your goals, your why, your power team, your massive action plan, which you can also work on with that quick start call with Ken. Module 2 is all about figuring out the financing. Each module comes out a week apart. So week 2 is going to be module 2, figuring out all about the financing, the different types, the mortgage options, the credit situation, how much to pay down on your down payments, and why and where. Then you're going to be looking at joint venture and money partners, the type of investors that you want to work with. Do you want inclusive investors or exclusive investors? How do you do this so you stay out of trouble? How do you find and attract investors? How do you do that without making sales calls, cold calls, without coming across as being needy or creepy or begging, right? How do you structure your joint venture agreements? This is huge. So that part of it's really, really big because Ken has invested tens of thousands of dollars in different joint venture agreements, and you're getting them for free as part of this program. So that alone is huge, huge value. Then we've also got crunching the numbers, how to calculate the profits on different scenarios, and a tool for analyzing and crunching the numbers for your single family deals. Module 3, which comes out in the 3rd week, is all about speeding up the pay down of your mortgages. How do you pay down that principal more quickly? How do you time your mortgage payments to take the best advantage of paying it down faster? How do you come up with extra cash to pay them down even faster, right? Module number 3 continued. getting creative for finding those big chunks of cash. So again, Ken's going to touch on different things that you can do, different strategies that you can do to create large amounts of cash. And instead of taking that cash and going on vacation with it, why not pay down your portfolio so you increase your cash flow all that much more faster, all that much more quickly. Module number 4, all about show me the money, how to split your mortgage pay down, secondary deals, deal fees, the whole bit. Then module number 5 is going to be really focused on this whole new component, how to create $7,500 a month in tax-free money, how to do that using your own money or other people's money, and at the same time be making money every time you get a deal up and going, every time you start a deal. That's module number 5. So you're going to have lifetime access to the program on the online university. You get 24/7 access to the assignments, the handouts, the video training, all the question and answer calls, all the recordings, interviews, all of that you get permanent lifetime access to when you invest in the program today. So just to give you guys a hint, I put in the chat box the direct link that'll take you to the program page. We'll open that up in a second, and I'll show you exactly what to expect there. You're going to get Ken's exclusive mortgage analyzers, so you can track all of your mortgages in just one program. So one of the challenges people have with this kind of a training is, how do you keep things organized? How do you crunch the numbers? How do you make it make sense without having to try and figure it all out in your head or on paper? Ken's done it for you with this mortgage analyzer, which he's going to be providing to you, plus providing training on how to use it. So that's a huge, huge value part of the program as well. That's another $1,000 value, yours included with the program. You're going to get unlimited email support from Ken for 12 full months. So not only can you get Ken on the call, do that fast start call personally with him, any questions you've got, 12 full months, just shoot Ken an email and he will answer them. And Ken is very, very responsive about this. So don't be surprised if you get a same day response to your question. So we've already got a bunch of questions coming in. Some of them are about how much is the program. Well, we're going to make it very, very affordable for you. So you got a couple of different choices. You can do a personal one-on-one mentoring session with Ken in Ottawa, which I highly recommend if this is within your means. There's nothing like working with Ken personally one-on-one. So this is an option for you to do that. You can fly out to Ottawa, spend 2 days with Ken. The investment for that is $15,000. The investment for this program is much less. So again, you got the quick start mentoring, you've got the monthly group coaching calls, the online training. You're also going to get 5 weeks of live training classes. Each week that a module comes out, there's also going to be a live training class that week. So Ken's going to do a summary of the week's training plus open it up for Q&A. You get access to that during the whole program, the 5 weeks of the program. You also get 1 year of unlimited email support. You get the exclusive mortgage analyzer program. Add up the value of all of that. It's over $9,800. Your investment, when you go to the website that I just put into the Q&A box, is just $997 when you get involved today. Okay, so get started today, my5homestofreedom.com. If you're on the live webinar, just click on the link that I put in the chat box. Chances are if you're watching this as a replay, there should be a button below this replay, and that's how you can get involved with this right now. So this is getting started this month, May, so Tuesday, May 23rd, which is the day after, is it Tuesday? No, it's Monday, May 23rd. Which I think is Victoria Day, if I'm not mistaken. That's when Ken's going to open this up with the first module. And then every week, there's also going to be a live training component as well. So each week, a module is going to get released for 5 weeks. And each week for 5 weeks, there's going to be a live training call as well, a web-based call like this. So that's part of the whole program. So you've got a bonus for new students, which is a big, big discount on the live 5 Homes to Freedom training events. So the reason we're doing this is because the investment for this 2.0 training is less than what we've charged in the past for our previous students. And part of the reason is for our previous students, we included free attendance at these live workshops. So what we found is sometimes people were living on one side of the country. They couldn't make it to Ottawa for the live training program, so they didn't feel like they're getting full value for the program. So what we've done is we've taken that out for new students. We've lowered the investment to get involved in the program to just $9.97, and we're going to make it available for you to come to the live trainings at a very, very reduced rate. And Ken will let you know about that when he determines the dates for the training camps. All right. So you're going to do all of this with Ken's help. Right. So it's not all by yourself. So what I'm going to do here, I believe, Ken, is I'm going to try and open things up. Are you able to? I'm going to make myself the presenter. Okay. And let's see if I can do this. Show my screen. Are you seeing my screen there, buddy?
You just opened up my ARCA website.
I did. So when you guys click on the link that I put in the chat box, it's going to come to this pretty page. And I just want to walk everybody through this because it's a little bit different than what you might be used to, but this gives you a description of the program. And then you just click, it says $9.97. Just click on the Add to Cart button at the bottom there. Okay. And then you've got the 5 Homes of Freedom, $9.97. And for some reason, I've tested this, so it came up with that I've wanted 2 of them. Just make sure you put in there that you want 1. Update the cart, and then place your order. So this is a secure online form through PayPal. So you don't have to worry about anything. Everything is very, very secure. You just put in your customer information. So put in your email address, your first name, last name, your address, your city, and then continue to the payment method. And that will give you the option to pay, I believe, either with MasterCard or Visa. Is that correct, Ken?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, very good. So let's see. What do I want to do? I want to give you back. I just wanted to open that up.
Yep, no, that's good.
Now I want to make you the presenter, get your screen back. All right. So have we screwed everything up?
There it is. Nope, my mouse disappeared. There we go.
So you got to click yes. There we are. Okay, perfect. And am I still able to click through this? No, I'm not. So I'm going to have to request. I don't know what the heck's going on here. Make presenter? No. All right. Anyhow, you can click through here, buddy. So we got a few little testimonials here. Donna and Brian Lauer, Conan and Debbie from Victoria. So again, taking your courses, having you as a mentor to encourage us really helped set Debbie and I on our way to purchasing our first rental house. We were able to use the knowledge and tools provided to take away the fear of our first purchase by analyzing the deal and knowing it was solid before closing. All right. So that gave them the confidence to get up and running. Here's the thing about working with Ken. And I'm not just saying this because Ken's on the line and Ken and I are promoting this program together. I don't know anybody who cares more about his students than Ken Beaton. I mean, I know students of Ken who've taken programs with him years ago. They have a question, they email Ken, he gets right back to them. He has helped so many people get started with real estate investing or get their real estate investing on track into the next level. He's helped more people than anybody I know personally. So, Ken, I don't think I've told you that before or told you that often enough, but
I appreciate that.
It's huge. Okay, so $9.97 gets you involved in the program. my5homestofreedom.com. Go to the next slide, please, buddy. But we got to let you know about this. Next slide. For the class of 2016, we've got limited spots available. Why do we have limited spots available? Very simple reason. There's only so much it can to go around, right? So this is a brand new program that we're opening up. We're actually planning on getting some very big joint venture partners on board in the future. We're going to be charging more for the program. We're actually looking at making this available to students in the United States. Right now, this is 100% Canadian, but we're looking at getting into the American market and working with some big promoters down south. We want to get this up and going with this class of 2016 and give you the most access to Ken. So we have to limit this to a maximum of 25 new students. That's because each student gets a one-on-one call with Ken. Each student gets unlimited email support with Ken. So there's only so much of Ken to go around, so we have to respect his time. All right, Ken, go to the next slide, please. And of course, if you're worried for any reason, you needn't be. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. You've got a full 30 days to try the entire program. In fact, why don't we do this, Ken? Is it okay if we modify this a little bit?
I think you're going to do it anyways, Dave.
I am going to do it because I've got the mic. This is what I think we should do. Try out the whole damn class, all 5 weeks of it. And if you're not happy, let us know and you get a full refund. So that actually stretches it like to 45 days. So it's 5 weeks from when the classes start on the 23rd. So that's going to take you well into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to take you to like the 20th of June, if my numbers are right, that you can try. Let's say this, yeah, but around the 20th of June, you can try everything out. Try the online training. Make sure you participate in the live classes. Participate in the live monthly training classes you got with Ken. Use the one-on-one certificate with Ken. Use the unlimited email support. Try out all the templates. Download all of the resources. If you're not thrilled, just let us know and you'll get a full refund. No hassles, no questions asked. All right? So it doesn't get any better than that for our new students. All right, go on to the next one if you would, Ken. All right, time is of the essence, and here's the truth. Either you're going to be living your plan. If you're not living your plan, you're likely to be living somebody else's plan, and it's time for you to start living your own plan. It's time for you to take charge and make this happen. Secret of happiness is freedom, and the secret of freedom is courage. So if this sounds like it's right for you, go ahead, go to the website, My 5 Homes to Freedom, and take action and enroll today. Do something today that your future self will thank you for. All right? Now, I told you that at the end of the show, I'd let you know how you can get all of the slides in a PDF format. When you sign off of the presentation tonight, and again, we're going to stay on the call as long as you want to answer all your questions. When you sign off, a little survey is going to pop up. Go ahead, fill out the survey, give us some feedback about what you liked, what you had as an aha with the program, and I will be happy to send you a copy of the slides. It'll probably be within the next 24 hours. Again, this is only available to the folks that were on the live call. Okay, very good. So we're going to open things up to questions, and I see a lot of questions have come in, and we're going to stick around as long as you want to answer all of your questions. So let's take a look at that. And where the heck did my question box go? Questions. There we are. Okay. So let me expand this a little bit. And again, you guys, I highly encourage you to be one of the 25. We're going to be doing a bit. We're going to promote this as a replay. We're also looking at promoting this with a couple other joint venture partners. And once those 25 spots are taken, they are taken. All right, let's see. So we got questions here. Okay, I'm just looking at all the questions to see which one kind of makes the most sense. So are there different rates for students that completed version 1.0, Elliot? Okay, Elliot, you were part of the initial group of people that took the program. You get this program complimentary. You don't have any further charge for being part of the program because you've got lifetime access. So you get, as a 1.0 student, you get this program as well. Is that correct, Ken?
Unless he wants to.
Unless you want to make a donation to
the Ken and Dave Fund.
The Ken and Dave Fund, yeah. Okay.
No, absolutely, it's included.
All right, very good. All right, let's the program cost. So Jay, that got answered. See good value, great. Congratulations. Take action. Become one of our new 2.0 students. Classes are going to be starting very shortly. So Colleen asks, how is the $7,500 a month tax free? So Ken, without teaching the whole course, can you kind of just give people an idea of what that's all about?
So what this is it's the refinance strategy, and it's using the borrowed money against the property. And borrowed money is not earned income, therefore it's not taxable income. So your property is paying taxes as an investment, but the money that you're pulling out is tax-free because it's borrowed money.
Exactly. So bottom line, the property is paying back the loan. So
Yep.
that's how that works. So G. Chase asks here, the tax-free money, will tax have to be paid on this amount later?
No. No, as I say, again, it's the property itself that's paying taxes through the process.
All right. Alvaro says, how to offset taxes due to cash flow? Would you hold them in a corporate entity?
That would be the easiest way of doing it. But again, that's a personal thing that you would need to discuss with your own accountant because everybody's situation is unique and different.
That's right. And then we actually take a little look at this in the program and go into a bit more
Yeah.
in depth there. So we got another question here. How to properly budget for repairs, roof, furnaces, etc. For example, a roof on a single home would set you back 12 to 15 grand, furnace 5 grand, etc. So how do you...
Not the way we do it. The way we structure the deals, it's I won't say unique, but I think it's pretty unique to the industry itself, and we take care of that up front.
Very good. So Mike says, when you replace your down payment with somebody else's RSP, how does that work?
Yeah, quite simply, you're placing a second mortgage against that property for the same amount as your down payment, which frees up your cash, and that second mortgage is actually through an RSP, self-directed fund.
Okay. Mike says, I've got 2 single-family rentals now and want a lot more, but run out of money for down payments. We solve that problem for you here, Mike. We show you exactly how to use other people's money to work with or recycle your down payments. Because
definitely,
you can find your money again. Okay.
Yep.
So Jamie says, I haven't finished Ken's book yet, which I'm really enjoying. Does he cover any of this in his book?
No, this is a brand new strategy that I've worked really hard on coming up with and doing all the math on. So no, hadn't thought of this when I wrote the book.
So Bevan asks, what's the difference between an inclusive investor and an exclusive investor?
Just the amount of participation from the investor, and where the money's coming from as well.
Okay.
The source of the money.
All right. So we had another thing. How's it tax free? So we answered that. So Paul says, a little tight for cash right now to do the program. Can I do it later at a later date? Yes, you can, Paul, but chances are we're going to be charging more for it at a later date, and we're not quite sure when we're going to. We don't pull this out and promote it every 3 or 4 months. Usually these programs we promote once a year. So if you can't do it now, chances are you can do it approximately a year from now, but it could cost be a higher investment at that time.
And the other thing to think about is, if you're using other people's money to buy investment properties, why not use other people's money to invest in you to invest with them? In other words, use a joint venture partner to do the deal.
All right, very good. How does your program work for U.S. properties? There's a good question.
Absolutely. One of our students, when the first go around, is investing down in Texas, I believe it is.
All right, perfect. Oh, we got Kathy Long on the call. Hi, Kathy. And she says, hi, Ken and Dave. Yes, that's true. I was mentored by Ken years ago, and last week he took the time to answer all of my questions. Thank you, Ken. Excellent. Thank you very much, Kathy.
My pleasure.
Yeah, and Kathy's definitely one of your rock and roll students. It's absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's a star.
Definitely a star. Definitely a star. Okay. Can a person listen to the classes at a later time if not available for the live class? Yes, definitely. Everything's going to be recorded and put on the student website, so you have permanent access to that. Okay.
As are the monthly coaching calls. They are, so if you're not able to attend the live coaching call, you can send your questions in and they'll be answered on the call. And then that call is uploaded to the website, and you can go back and listen to it as often as you want, or download it to your phone and listen to it at your convenience.
All right. Gary says, what time of the day would the live classes be, daytime or evening? And Gary, we haven't quite pegged that down yet, but again, if you can't make it to a live class, don't worry. You're going to have access to the recording of it, and you can always send in any questions that you have ahead of time, and Ken will address them on the class. So if you can't make it live, you can still participate and get full value out of the program. All right, so Cameron's got a situation here. Permanent long-term disability, fixed income, but I'm looking to do something with property. Just need to get going. Looking at 3 to 5 years to start, but don't know how to start earlier. Okay, so what do you say there, Ken? Is it
I
possible in someone in that situation to get started sooner rather than later?
Absolutely. The only thing that's going to stop him is he himself and his mindset. So absolutely, it's something that can be done using none of your money, none of your credit. You don't need to worry about your income holding you back or anything of that nature. As long as you've got the tools and the mindset to do it, it can be done.
It's all about that's the thing. It's all about the mindset. It's also about the team. So I'm not sure how disabled you are, but really you could actually do this without ever personally having to leave your home.
Yep.
It's possible. All right, Brad says, how can we take title of a property after we refinance it and pay out our investors?
How can you take title of a property after paying out to your investors? It all depends on how the whole thing is structured to begin with, so it's really difficult to answer that one without getting into the details and understanding that. So
I think what he's saying is, let's say we get an investor partner on board who puts up the money and the down payment for the property. So we're in it as 50-50. We're joint venture partners on the deal, co-tenants perhaps. How can we get them off the books? Brad, let me know if that's a good recap of your question.
So if that is it, I think it's a fairly simple procedure to do. The challenge is that depending on the province you're in will dictate the taxes that you have to pay, because that will, by taking somebody off the title, actually triggers a sale. Therefore, there's the capital gains tax potentially, but that's not in all provinces. So that's one issue that has to be dealt with, and then how you have it structured in your joint venture agreement will dictate how quickly and easily it can actually take place.
So you get more
into all of that later.
Yeah, much more in detail in the actual course. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Very good. Lots of good questions, you guys. Thank you very much. So how different is this program compared to Paul Blackyear's RRSP program?
Night and day. Paul talks about RSP investing mortgages, and I love Paul's program because I use the RSPs all the time. I'm actually in the middle of doing 2 RSP mortgages right now, and I still reference his material to help me go through that process. But it has nothing to do with our course at all. I mean, he doesn't, in his RSP program, he doesn't talk about how to buy the properties, how to structure the deal, how to negotiate the deals. Totally different.
So yeah, Paul's RSP mortgage program is primarily about how to attract RRSP investors and structure those deals. That's it. For any kind of investment strategy, any kind of real estate you're doing. This program is all about creating massive cash flow from 5 single-family homes. That's the whole focus of this. Part of Ken's program includes a strategy for recycling your down payment using other people's RSPs, and that's where he touches on. There's a little bit of overlap on what Paul teaches. Okay.
Yep.
So Ken asks, is this class tax deductible?
I don't want to say yes or no. I think that's a question for your accountant. It depends on how you run it through your books. My understanding is if you run it through a corporation, then absolutely. But if it's just on a personal level, then likely not. But again, that's going to be up to your accountant to decide.
Exactly. So, yeah, talk to your accountant for sure. So Andrew says, I might have missed this. When does the course start? Okay, good question, Andrew. It starts on Monday, May 23rd. That's when module number 1 is going to be released. That same week, later on the week, Ken is going to have a live summary and Q&A class. So you'll have time to go through the different lessons in each module and then come to the live Q&A class if you can make it, and then ask any questions that you may have directly with Ken about that week's module. Okay. And deadline for enrollment is, well, classes start on the 23rd. And deadline is either probably the 20th or when we reach 25 students, whichever happens first. So again, it's one of these things, if it looks interesting for you, go ahead, take action. If you procrastinate about it, chances are you're not going to get around to it later on. So, you know, it always drives me nuts when people say, well, how long can I wait before I register? Why wait? Register now. Make sure you reserve your spot. You got absolutely no risk. You got nothing to lose. Just take action. Make a decision. That's all you
Yep.
need to do. Okay. So Jamie says you still need the initial investment to know how to use other people's money, right? I don't
No,
understand.
no, you can use other people's money right from the get-go.
Oh yeah, we got lots of students, Jamie, that start off from day one, property one, using other people's money. So no, you don't have to have your own money for your first deal. That would be the ideal. Wave the magic wand. That would
It's
be
the
the
easiest.
ideal situation, but not everybody can do that. Okay. Uh, so Cameron says, do the two books that you had in the webinar, do they do some teaching as well and help with what we're talking about here? Okay, good question, Cameron. Creative Real Estate Investing for Canadians. That's a really good beginner book about real estate investing in general, but it doesn't go in depth. It doesn't cover this strategy at all, and it doesn't
No.
go in depth into exactly how to do it. Ken's other book, correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, is all about primarily about buying revenue properties and managing those properties. It's not about the 5 home strategy.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. Sophie says, I think he meant how much of a down payment do we need to do the 5 homes to freedom?
Well, that's going to be the same 20% regardless, because if you do conventional financing, then it's going to be 20% that you need to have down.
Okay. All right. So again, yep. All right. So Mark says, just got here. Will there be a replay of the webinar? Yes. If technology worked properly, Mark, we will have a replay up sometime in the next 24 to 48 hours. Okay, Kathy says, David, please tell how your friend's strategy about how she financed her deals without the banks. Thanks. Okay, I'll tell you that offline, Kathy, uh, because that's actually part of the training program. All right. Where we got here? Just to clarify, um, if we attended 5 Homes of Freedom in Edmonton in October, we get this one for free. Gary, if you're a student of the original 5 Homes of Freedom, then yes, you get this as part of this is part. It's a complimentary upgrade for you, Gary. So anybody who's already invested in 5 Homes of Freedom in the past, you get this one for free. You don't have to rebuy it again. All right, very good. Well, I can see that we've had lots of great interaction and questions, you guys. Highly recommend that you go to my5homestofreedom.com, sign up for the class, try it out. I know you're going to love it. Ken's put a lot of work into upgrading everything. This whole new strategy is very, very cool. That's why Module 5 is going to be all about that. And that's what it's all about. So look forward to having you as part of the program. Ken, any last words of wisdom?
No, I'm just, it was great to see so many people attending tonight, and it's really encouraging to see how many people stick around for all the questions. They were great questions, really enjoy doing that, and I look forward to working with everyone.